Hello, Sunita. How are you?
Hi, Yasa. Good, thank you. And you?
I'm good. I'm good. Very good. As good can be during this MCO.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it. I miss my nasi lemak and my teh tarik at my mama, really.
How are you doing?
That's the only
How's the MCO treating you?
It's pretty good in the sense that it has given me a lot of time to do the writing. And normally, when you are in isolation or in a restricted movements condition like this, you tend to have a lot of creative space. So I'm
Right.
making the best use of it. I'm catching up on my reading. I still get to do my exercises. Only thing I don't get to walk outside. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
where it is right now.
So
And you?
if I know you well, I think that'd be quite difficult for you, right? To not go outside.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I don't get to have breakfast with you, so yeah.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is some
yeah,
of the
yeah.
stuff that we all, enjoy and we miss in some ways.
Yes, yes, yes.
Huh.
Surprisingly, I'm quite an outgoing person. So, but surprisingly, I'm adapting quite well at home
Okay.
and
Okay.
enjoying the time and space with the kids and
Hmm.
wifey. And
Hmm.
uh, s- well, there's more time to do things like that, especially the things that need a little bit more research, a little bit more thinking and all.
Yes, that's correct. I mean, children's wishes have come true. They didn't want exams. They didn't want schoolwork. Now I think that burden has reduced. Uh, Mothers wanted to try new stuff, new cooking, new recipes. I think that's also coming true. Fathers wanted to just rest at home without having their weekends being taken away for going there and here. I think that's again another prayer answered in some way. We're actually living in a very sustainable environment and a sustainable lifestyle. I really think so. MCO is good in some ways, but of course my heart goes out to all those people who are out there who are in the front line, who have not probably had enough sleep, who are putting their lives at risk to save the lives of another. Again, here, thank you for those people. Really, hats off.
Yeah. And also a lot of recently the DG has got some new awards internationally recognized, right, as one of the
Mm.
top doctors out there in the whole world.
Oh
Uh,
yes, oh yes, that's remarkable for Malaysia. I think because of the kind of leadership that this
yeah,
person has demonstrated and really stepped up to the game.
yeah, he did, he
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
Okay, so
and
friends here, just want to say hello. We have Sunita Devi
hello.
here, right? Just drop by, say hello, and just let her know that you are around. She's here. She's an old friend. She's been doing this work for a very long time. She's been working with public listed companies and all. Later, I'll just read out a little bit about her. Just drop by, say hello, and also as usual, we have the past episodes recorded. You can go, you can see in the comments section below the YouTube for the past episodes, and also if you want to keep getting notices, do subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right. Okay, let me just share a little bit about Sunita. Okay. Uh, t- t- so today we are here actually to talk about sustainability 101, right? Sustainability under the requirements of Bursa, the listing requirements of Bursa Malaysia, is a mandatory requirement to prepare a sustainability report, or it's better known as a sustainability statement, right? But
True.
not many companies are totally aware or understand the full importance of sustainability in their organization. So, what is sustainability? I mean, of course, we know a little bit here and there. I think I know, but why is it such a big requirement for Bursa, right?
Right,
So, what is sustainability? How can organizations use it to run their company in a better manner, right? So, don't
right.
forget to drop your questions here early so that Sunita can explain or answer your questions early on, right? And a little bit about Sunita Devi. She's a certified sustainability reporting specialist. Ooh, sounds very technical, right? She has worked with public listed companies like YTL Corporation, Malaysia Airports, Sunway Medical, Ais Selangor, MK Land. Some of our
Hmm.
notable clients. Okay, of course, today we want to hear a lot. about what is sustainability, the listing requirements in Bursa, why this sustainability is needed and all, right? So over to you, Sunita. Can you just explain to us what is sustainability, what is all about for the lay people like us at first?
Okay. Well, firstly, thank you for bringing up this topic on Sustainability 101. I think it's the right time for us to look at it. Even we understand it better now because when we live in constraints, we understand what are the parameters that we can work with to continue making money for ourselves, earning an income for ourselves, for our businesses, and as a business to continue to stay somewhat profitable. So basically, sustainability is a balancing act. It allows the companies to balance the way they do business without causing detrimental harm to the environment in which they operate and to the communities which are affected by their business. A simple example of sustainability would be in the way we travel. Like if I right now throughout this MCO, I only limit my transportation to once a week, which is for groceries. Those days, I used to travel and spend on petrol like I never thought that it was going to be that much of expenses. But now we experience savings. In the long run, now I have a changed behavior where I'm probably going to consider taking public transportation for some of those activities when the MCO is lifted. So my thinking is moving or it's changing the way that I'm going to behave and be more responsible towards the environment and in the process to the community that I'm serving and that I'm living in. So that is the epitome of sustainability. And truly, it's a balancing act. Say, for example, in a construction company
Yes.
where actually construct large developments, large housing areas. They take away or and then in the process of doing this, what they are doing is they are removing the plants, the animal habitat, the species. So there is a detrimental effect. This is called a footprint. Now,
Right.
what are they going to do after they've built that building or condominium or housing is they're going to have beautiful landscape developed around it. So that is the offset measurement. Sustainability is all about the footprint that we cause to the environment and to the people, and at the same time, how are we offsetting it? Corporate organizations have got more resources, lah, basically, in order for them to do this. So therefore, they are able to effect bigger impact, larger impact, as opposed to you and me. I mean, yeah, I do exhale 1 kilograms of carbon dioxide, but 1 kilogram of carbon dioxide, one person is not going to cause a hole in the ozone layer. But if there are 10 billion people on this planet, and that's definitely going to cause a dent in the ozone layer, and it's going to be even more hotter where we live. I mean, you and I experienced that. I've traveled to Cameron Highlands 20 years ago and last year, and I felt that Cameron Highlands is no longer a cold destination. So
Right. Yes,
the
that's true.
global heating phenomena has already happened. Yeah, it's no longer global warming; it is global heating. So people don't talk about climate change anymore. We are already experiencing climate crisis, and we are moving to climate emergency scenarios which really need fast attention. That's also the reason why, in a global scale, countries have come together in pledging against reducing some of these footprints and detrimental effect. I would like to call it that for today, simply because at a country level, we are able to create larger impact. At an individual or community level, yes, we can help some people within the boundary and cause impact. So that's basically some of the tenets and basic principles of sustainability. If I may go on to the
Yes.
Bursa Malaysia requirements, actually, Bursa Malaysia started talking about sustainability. They were listed in they were existing since what, 1976. But they only started talking about sustainability as corporate social responsibility because most of the companies that were listed produce an annual report, which is a financial reporting statement to explain how they've actually made profits and how they prepare or plan to maintain those profits. So in 2006, they say, okay, since you're making profit, why don't you also help the community around you? How are you doing this? So they actually started with allowing or requesting for a corporate social responsibility report, which is called a CSR report. With the
Right.
CSR report, companies actually tell how they are remaining responsible to the communities, because most of the time, if it's a manufacturing plant, the people working in the manufacturing plant are from the nearby communities. And in order for them to sustain, what sort of transportation you provide, are you actually providing food at the cafeteria? Are you providing what kind of healthcare services are you providing, protecting them? Are you providing training and education on occupational safety and health? So these fall under CSR tenets, which actually just touches the basic level of awareness.
Right.
You go down a little bit further, you give a little bit of education. Okay, you certify some people. So you have in your HR department, you have some people who have got certification for OSHA, uh, who have got some certification for construction design. So this is the education level. And then, of course, the third level in corporate social responsibility is advocacy. So you find a lot of the NGOs that these companies work with who go out there, who demonstrate how this company is being responsible, and they engage with these NGOs on an annual basis. But it is at that because they have just touched or scraped the tip of the iceberg. They've not gone deep down. Over the long run, a company can spend $10,000, $100,000, $1 million a year, every year, but have got no long term value, which is what we call corporate social value, CSV. So CSR is not so effective anymore because it's like giving someone a fish to eat every day, but you're not really teaching them how to fish. So moving forward, companies were required to show long-term value that they create from these corporate social responsible activities. And so we've moved now to corporate responsibility reports. And these are contained in two areas. Number one, in the annual report, where the annual report now has to be prepared with a chairman's statement and direction on sustainability. Social are you creating good impact on? So this particular document is called sustainability statement. Of course, the gradual advancement to sustainability statement is also in a full-fledged sustainability report. So you have got a report that just talks about how the organization is now looking at sustainability, prioritizing sustainability, investing in sustainability of the organization, and at the same time, if the companies are a little have got a lot more resources, they would then look into a sustainability report comprehensive. So core is just how the management is guiding the company and its business in managing sustainable business. And sustainability reporting comprehensive is an organization that looks at all the standards under economic, environment, social, and say, I'm doing good here, I'm doing good here, I'm doing good here, I'm doing good here. So they are saying they're doing good, or they're trying their very best to invest on all the tenets of sustainability so that they can continue operating. And that is where it is now as far as Bursa Malaysia requirements are concerned. They are currently also advising most of the public listed company board of directors to shed a little bit more guidance. Well, I can't say that there's not been enough guidance. There has been, because you see, predominantly most of the businesses out of the 772 public listed companies under the main market, almost 60% are family owned businesses.
That's right.
Family owned businesses, there is already a set way of doing business, and they know what kind of business they want to do. In doing so, they have to guide their senior management. See, C-suite is one thing, board of directors is one thing. It's they have to guide the senior management on how to operationalize sustainability goals that they have in their mind so that they can continue their legacy, how to operationalize those goals through their implementations, targets, KPIs, performance management, through their certifications, through their ISOs, So a lot of these implementation factors that senior management has to execute and break down is where board of directors play a very, very important role. And Bursa Malaysia is now, I think, in the last 2 years, have started engaging with industries, engaging with ACE market or industry specific companies, and also lead market, which are more SMEs, those sort of players. And we've got about good 56, 69 over companies in the FTSE for Good, which is these are the companies that demonstrate very responsible practices in sustainability over a period of time. So they've gotten themselves into this index and they say, hey, since I'm already doing good, here's what I can do more, here's what I can do better. And what they're doing, what Bursa Malaysia is doing is really guiding them, or all these companies, to look at, to review non-financial, through non-financial reporting statements. Number one, what is the risk to your operation? Number two, how are you creating good impact through your operations? In your business, what are the negative impact that is being caused to the environment and to the society? And number three, within the boundary in which you're operating, let's say you have a plant in Klang, in Port Klang. So what kind of impact is there to the environment and to the society? How are you going to manage this and continuously operate your plant profitably? And of course, and number four, in the course that you find an adverse impact, what are you doing to improve that? What kind of opportunities for collaboration, for networking, for technology, by employing technology, that you are improving the way you do business now to be more responsible? So
Right.
that really encompasses everything that Bursa is trying to do over the last 3 years, very actively for public listed companies.
Great, great. So we'll take a moment here.
Sure.
Before the next question, I'm going to ask you another question, right? Just to say hello to all those who have come in and said hello, right? We have Watsala
Hi.
Nair, and then we have Andrew, we have Edgar Leong, who has come in and said good
Hi.
topic. Edward Tai, we have Sashindran, who has a question. I'll read out to you
Sure.
after this. Thanks,
Okay.
Sashindran, from YouTube.
Okay.
And then you
Okay.
have Wailing here, all right? Hi, Sunita, she said.
Hi,
Uh,
Wiley.
and then we have Rani, we have Ganapati Ramanathan saying hello. And then from LinkedIn, we have Arshad, Gladys de Silva. She said, hi, Sunita. Oh, we have lost you for a while. Okay. While waiting for Sunita. Sunita, I hope you can hear me. Just coming back again. We have Arshad Farshuki. Let me just say, let's get back Sunita back
Hi.
again. Hi again. We lost you for a few moments.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Gladys De Silva saying hello. Arshad Faruqi, thanks for arranging these sessions. Thank you. Sanat Kumaran.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then, okay, so there are some questions coming in. If you are going
Sure.
to answer them later, you can just, just let us know. Uh,
Sure.
Let me just see again. Suresh Kumar said hello.
Hi,
And
Suresh.
Sri Umeswara said timely discussion. Okay. Thank you
Hi,
very
Dr.
much,
Sri.
everybody. Okay. And okay, let's go on to some of the questions and see if they can be answered right now, right? So Arshad
Certainly.
Farki has said, how does one reconcile between apparently conflicting principles, for
Mm,
example,
mm.
sustainability and continuous annual growth of profit?
Correct. I do agree with what he said by conflicting,
Yeah,
but you see, what is the purpose of existence of a company? Profitability, right?
profitability.
Without
Yeah.
a doubt, profitability. But
Yes.
right now, companies are made responsible and for how they have been starting to make profits and how they're going to continue making profits in a responsible manner. So I believe that this is the right time for us to look at it, simply because we've probably not looked at it or considered this prior to the Bursa Malaysia listing requirements, because we've always talked about continuously doing business the way business as usual. But now it's right time to look at, hey, what if there is a water shortage? Now I can give you a very good example of one of the clients that we've worked with.
Yeah.
This particular organization is a water management company in one particular state, which is the most prosperous state in this country. And one of the bigger issues that they have in water management is managing the revenue that is lost from supplying water.
Right.
So they call this non-revenue water.
Okay.
There's no income. You know why? Because some of the buildings which has got these water meter devices, they have not been maintained well. So there's a lot of leakages happening. And how many times do you and I actually take a look at the leakages happening around the shop lots and really call up and say, hey, there's a leakage of water. I think you should come and repair the pipes. We don't make those conscious efforts on a regular basis because it has not been ingrained that that's actually water, a commodity that is very scarce in the world right now. Hence the reason why, if a company were to continue to be profitable, you need to manage the responsibility that you have towards managing your water resources, your energy, the way you consume, the way you produce, and the way you waste. So it's very, very important and critical discussion at this point that businesses review the way they do their business. So they become more transparent, they create trust. We've had a lot of issues that we've heard about in the news and everything, where companies have not been very responsible. For example, in the garment industry, where communities have not been paid a salary. I think you've also recently read in the news where workers from the garment industry in Bangladesh, who at one point had a lot of businesses coming from large brands, famous brands, now have got no work because of this lockdown scenario, right?
Mm.
So they and these are issues which companies need to pre-plan,
Right.
right? And we are doing this very well. There is an NGO here in Malaysia that designs clothes and materials. Now
Right.
they have a center. They operate from a center with a couple of seamstresses. Now these seamstresses cannot travel because of the MCO. And you know what the NGO did? The NGO took the sewing machine and put it in the house of the seamstress so that they can continuously work, earn an income, provide, in addition, see the opportunity they've identified. In addition, they have actually looked at coming up with new clothes, which are for the PPE material clothes. So here are opportunities out of a risk, a pandemic. Companies, NGOs, SMEs, large corporations have got the opportunity to identify new ways of carrying out business more responsibly. So I think I've answered that question by saying, yes, this is the right time, and yes, this is a convergence.
Right. Okay. Got another question here. What
Sure.
is the acceptable or required percentage to be kept aside from a company's revenue to drive sustainability in Malaysia via CSR and other
Mm.
channeling activities?
Okay.
Mm.
I will answer that question with an example. There was an NGO that
Right.
started teaching English.
Right.
Okay, so the background of the NGO is he was a teacher, the founder of the NGO. So he started teaching English, and now he's actually teaching single women how to put together a solar panel so that they can power up a community. Now, this particular NGO's investment, when they started the NGO, the requirement when they pitched for campaigns, right, it was only 10,000 ringgit. Now they're pitching for 2 million ringgit.
Wow.
So the extent of a company investing in corporate social responsibility campaigns can vary. But this is what I need you to take a look at a little bit more seriously. It's not the percentage that you want to allocate, it's the value that you want to generate. How much value is it in feeding a charity or a home full of children, of say about 30 to 15 children, or feeding a community of about 150 people over a period of a year? Which creates more impact? Feeding children in the home or feeding people in the community? If you look at impact wise, between 15 people and 150 people, of course, 150 people will be a lot more. However, what is the value that you're trying to generate? Are you just planning to feed them, or are you planning to teach them how to feed themselves?
Right.
So
Okay.
the allocations have to be made according to the value and the long-term value that you want to generate. I hope I answered that question too.
Okay.
Because
Got
it
it.
depends. It depends on company to company. You may be suggesting. I've attended pitches for CSR campaigns, and I've realized this. The pitches go like this. So your campaign is 100,000. This particular campaign is another 100,000. But I think with this particular campaign, I get more media mileage because of the community and the kind of service that I'm providing, as opposed to this campaign. So if the campaign is being driven by media mileage, I would think about it first.
Right. Okay. So of course, I think it can be both also, right? If they have a
Hmm.
good impact and also they can create, if they can do the proper media mileage together, it'll be good
Yes,
for everybody also.
correct. It has to go hand in hand. You need to create the impact and you need to visibly talk about and promote the impact. That is pretty much in Malaysia, it's a bit lacking. I think if I can share a little bit about
Yes,
this,
please.
in the last 3 years, we've had this EU association, trade association, that has launched an award event for all companies in Malaysia. Can you imagine the EU delegation event or a delegation operated event or organized event is open to all Malaysian companies, including European based companies.
Right.
And they've been doing this consistently for 3 years. The beautiful part is, in the last 3 years that they've been organizing this event, this Europa Award for Business Sustainability, they have had tremendous number of increase in companies that are coming forward and demonstrating and promoting and giving visibility to their campaigns and to their activities and initiatives. And I think that's remarkable because a lot of companies are doing so much for their organization and so much for the society as well as for the environment, and they're now promoting it. Good for you. However, here's the thing, when I sit in the panel of judges and when we review and shortlist some of these candidates, now we know, for coming from the business industry background, we understand what the companies are doing. But when we look at the shortlisted form, it's just about 150 to 300 words. We are a ABC company. We have fed 13,000 people. We have contributed this amount of investments into CSR. And I'm like, haven't we done a lot more? So, in other words, here's the disconnect. When you want to promote and create visibility, show impact. Talk about impact. And most importantly, please don't ask an intern to fill up your nomination form.
Okay. What do you mean by impact?
Okay, so for example, but there is a company which won a couple of years back for, it's a healthcare service provider, which won for best social impact. In other
Right.
words, they have a clinic, which is a mobile clinic, which operates from every mosque in the state.
Okay.
All right. And they are not limited because they are a company which has acquired medical centers around Malaysia. So they are operating everywhere and they cover state to state every week the communities that need dialysis, that need health screening. So really what they're doing is they are a health organizer, a healthcare company. They are going to the population, screening, testing, and treating some of those really, really hardcore ailments such as diabetes, kidney failures, and detecting it at an early stage. Now, this is what I call creating impact. Now, what's the long term value? What's the CSV of this? It is really the CSV of this is now that these people in the community know that such a medical facility is there, such advisory services have been given and what they should and should not do to take care of their health, where do you think they will naturally want to go? Private institution?
Yeah.
They would want to go to the clinic and do that normal testing every other week.
Yes.
Right? So there, the company is creating value by engaging with the local community and making sure that the community comes back. Now, it's not just the community at one generation. You're looking at the children, the father, the grandfather, the fourth generation, and the entire family in that community. You and I know very well. We are in a family where we are some people are very brand conscious. Hey, which
Right.
hospital or which clinic do you have a insurance policy for, or even a service loyalty program for? So it becomes a family thing, and it becomes a family thing. It's a long term sustainable.
Right. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Roslan from LinkedIn, Roslan Yaakob said hi. Firdaus
Hi,
Izam said
Roshan.
hi. And then
Hi.
Raymond Victor said good information. Okay.
Oh, hi,
Uh,
Raymond.
Raymond, right? And from Facebook, Rosalind said hello. And
Hi, Rosalind.
Sashindran Satkuna is also known as Sashi. You got this. Okay. So, all right. So I just talking about that just now, right? I remember a long time ago when we were
Mm-hmm.
young, the Milo vans, the Milo trucks used to come to schools and all and give free Milo, right? And
Correct.
today
Right.
it's a drink that everybody remembers, and it's just a brand that to be healthy, you're supposed to drink Milo, right?
Mm.
It's already like
Mm.
sort of ingrained already, but I suppose it started off from the CSR originally, right?
That's correct. That's pretty much correct. Because you see, some organizations do this where they employ or engage brand marketing to
Right.
continue sustaining the business and their profitability. Right now, a lot of organizations, we've worked with organizations such as a financial institution that has parked sustainability division under marketing and not under corporate communications. Simply because
Mm-hmm.
they want to understand, because as a financial institution, you're lending money to SMEs and to
Right.
general public, and you want to be able to understand what sort of money amount of money, what sort of business, what sort of challenges that you need funding for. So therefore, they've actually parked it under marketing. And I think that's a brilliant strategy in this financial institution. Some of the other financial institutions, the number four and the number five in the ranking of financial institutions in this country, are moving in the same direction, where they are looking at parking sustainability divisions away from the usual corporate communications or PR division, and actually parking them under branding, marketing. I've even heard of a company which has actually parked it under risk. And I think that's
Risk.
another brilliant thing. Yes, because simply because when you talk about risk, it's a division that manages the annual reporting as far as the risk statements and auditing are concerned for financial reporting statements. And now that you're dealing with sustainability, which is basically a report which is a non financial report, it's brilliant to actually park sustainability under risk. So, any audited report findings that you receive, you are then able to screen them over how does it affect the environment, how does it affect the society, and how can I continuously operate as a business and operate profitably as a business.
Okay. We got a question. What is
Sure.
CSR? How does CSR differ from sustainability in a company?
In this way, I repeat this again and I add another component.
Right.
CSR has always been I am generating profits and therefore I'm sharing my profits with, for the betterment of environment or social.
Okay.
Sustainability is I am making profits in a responsible manner by reducing the risk and the adverse impact towards environment and the adverse impact towards society. And I continue to do that in a long-term manner. That's where sustainability is a little bit, the impact of sustainability is felt if it continues over a long-term manner. So, for example, we've worked with an organization where there was an investment in greenhouse gas emission count. That means they want to measure how much greenhouse gas does the building, a 17-story building, actually emit, and what sort of waste are they creating, and how can they generate, what is the opportunity in recycling this waste. So this particular organization employed a team of experts to come and teach them what and how to count greenhouse gas emissions. So there's a couple of calculator for it? How do you use it? How do you calibrate it to your organization and to your building? Because this particular organization is a company that builds buildings and leases and rents it out. So whether it's for a automotive company or whether it's usually called a real estate investment trust or REIT for short. So what they have done is they employed this group of people. Here's the wrench on that whole idea. When
Okay.
they had a new management team and the CEO changed, the whole idea of carbon calculator was shoved.
Why did that happen?
Well, I guess it is because the understanding of the impact of causing or measuring sustainability over the long run was not something that some CEOs would understand. So sad. Which is why Bursa Malaysia is now looking at requirements where they want to engage with directors of companies more. And one of the ways in which we are also creating programs for Bursa Malaysia and trying to get SIDC to certify this in this process is the programs are directed specifically for business owners and directors of companies, because when they understand, they can provide guidance. Then the senior management will know what they have to comply, how to break down the tasks, what to implement. Then you have the entire value chain, being profitable, being responsible, and there's value derived from that investment in sustainability. Otherwise, every time there is a change in management, there's a new plan, there's a new plan, there's a new plan, and nothing really happens.
Right. What are the like, out of the Bursa companies, right? Listed companies, there are about
Mm-hmm.
903 of
Mm-hmm.
them. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
are they all very, very aware of the
Mm-hmm.
sustainability report requirements?
Good question. This is the real life example. I've worked with companies which are 4 billion, 5 billion, 8 billion, and 18 billion. This is my experience in working with these companies. Usually, sustainability reporting statement period, right, is the last quarter of that financial year, before the next financial year, because the report has to be produced for it to be submitted to Bursa, because it's a tick box of that checklist to comply. And that's why Bursa now has transitioned to don't just comply, comprehend, apply, and report and explain. So it is the corporate, it's actually an acronym called CARE under the Malaysian Code of Corporate Governance, where board of directors need to step up action to demonstrate care. So comprehend, apply, report, and explain why you have not done what you should do to be more sustainable. And in this process, I think if the board of directors and senior management are on board these engagements, or if they've not been invited, please get yourself invited so that you can understand this a little bit better, because these are all step up actions. And there are a lot out of the 903 companies that you mentioned just now, almost 60% of them are reporting. But they're still in that old mindset of reporting as CSR. And this is
Okay.
because over the years, they have not developed or progressed in their sustainability for two reasons. Number one, today I want to be sustainable. What should I do? Okay, I should save water. I should reduce my energy, fossil fuel dependency. I should reduce the cost of, say, for example, my products and materials coming from overseas, because the cost of transporting that good is very high. So when I want to reduce this, what is the target? So this year, if I want to reduce carbon dioxide or emissions of greenhouse gases, what is my target? Often I read company reports, I don't find the target. I only know what they're going to do or what they've done in the previous year. We have collected 10,000 kilograms of waste. Okay. How
Mhm.
many of those are recyclable? I don't know. I'm not sure. When we talk about this, when we actually go into a sustainability audit and we ask these questions, we provide a gap of the report, and we go through this information and we say, okay, you have saved 10,000, or you've actually collected 10,000 kilograms of waste. What did you do to recycle them?
Mm-hmm.
For an FMCG, for example, product packaging is the highest waste or the highest expense category in terms of operational expense.
Right.
So they spend a lot of money in product packaging. So we ask them, how do you actually make sure that your brand, your packaging comes back to you? You know, say for example, the Tetra Pak, the Milo that you
Yes.
mentioned just
Yes.
now. Okay,
Yeah.
we used to get it in that little Tetra Pak packets.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
if you put a code to that Tetra Pak packet, when it goes out into the, say, 7-Eleven, you consume it, you buy it, you consume it, and now you want to waste, right? What do? You throw it into the bin.
Yes.
You're not recycling, neither am I. I'm not going to take it back and then put it in my bin and separate it. Okay, that's change behavior to the best lah, I would say.
Right.
You know, when a brand takes responsibility for this, and say for example, I'm not saying Milo or Nestle or whatever, but if the brand takes responsibility for this, it is called extended producer responsibility, EPR. It's a concept where brands now take back every single packaging, put it back into the system, recycle, and spend a lot less money buying that same material to produce a new product packaging. So basically, they're saving, but they've not looked at it that way. And if they have, they feel that it's very minute amount of saving. Of course, if you do it today, it's very minute, you know, because you want to save 50 Milo packets as an individual. You want to save 50 Milo packets and then make the trip to go and recycle it. Of course, you know, it's tedious. But as an organization, if you target, you produce 100,000 or 100 million packets, you want to save, that means you're going to bring it back to your supply chain, say 50%. That's a huge number. And out of the 50%, you are able to put it back into producing the packaging all over again, say another 20%. That means you're actually saving 20% of the cost that you're going to spend in getting that material from outside. So this cost saving concept has to be ingrained into senior management so that they operate more responsibly, more sustainably.
So what's the benefit? If let's say the company is doing all of this, right? In
Mhm.
terms of requirements, do they benefit?
What do you mean by
In
requirement?
terms of Bursa requirements, right? Do they have like some extra points or stars?
See,
Yeah.
Bursa Malaysia is a regulatory agency.
Right.
It regulates the way you do business. It's not going to reward you.
Okay.
The reward is your part, but it will, when you are regulated, you keep your license to operate. You get to keep your license to operate. You get to continue operating in a profitable way. So it is telling you how to reduce your risk, how to collaborate with the right stakeholders, NGOs, SMEs, in order for you to maintain your business sustainably. It tells you how to employ technology to monitor how sustainable you are. It also tells you what sort of transparency and access to funding that you will have from investors who want to invest in your business because you are a responsible business. So
Mm.
that is what the role of a regulator is to help you, to guide you, to provide you the moral compass. So they did that in the sustainability reporting guideline. If I may say, the first one was very basic: risk, opportunity, impact, those sort of component content. The second one was a little bit more elaborate to tell companies why you should do it. You should do it because you want to attract investments. I mean, ideally, if you want to make money, you need money, right? So
Right.
where's the money going to come from? It's going to come from investors. How are these investors going to come and look at you when you are not demonstrating or not being transparent about the way that you are operating your business responsibly? If you're feeding 100,000 people today and you're teaching them how to feed themselves, you put that in your sustainability report, your sustainability statement, your chairman's statement, demonstrating how sustainable you are as an organization and how you're creating value over the long run. You are then being transparent and responsible, and you're demonstrating it to your investors.
Right.
You're gaining the trust of investors. You don't just say, I know how to make money. You just invest lah. We'll see how. It's no longer that.
So investors actually take this quite seriously.
Oh
Corporate.
yes, there are trillions and trillions of value or assets or capitalization out there in the market. But in order for you to attract these investors, you need to be on that benchmark. You need to have a report card. So if you don't even have a report card, or if you can't even do your assignment, how are you going to get your marks on your report card? Your assignment is your sustainability report. Every year you have to produce one. Once you produce it, you then show, okay, this is how good I am, this is what I've done. Second is you need to benchmark that. That means you need to go out to the international level standards, standards that are generally accepted everywhere around the world. And then you see where you rank. So you've got ratings and rankings. You put yourself up there in that ranking. There are many types of investor-led benchmarks that are available. I can give you names, but if I'm going to talk to you about it now, we're going to probably have to extend another 1 hour or so. But I can give you names, and each of these benchmarks differ by industry. So if you're say for example, a main market lister or an ACE market lister, a listed issuer in the ACE market would have specific benchmarks. If you're in construction, you would probably want to benchmark against GRESB. If you're in banking, healthcare, you probably want to benchmark against FSB. If you're in airports and different types of businesses, large scale businesses, and you're a conglomerate, you probably want to benchmark against climate change and CDP and TCFD. I'm just giving you the common names so that it rings a bell. Details of it. What benchmarking really is they have a set of questionnaire. You need to fill up those questionnaire and demonstrate impact in all those activities that you have been embarking on sustainably. So that's typically what benchmarking is. Sadly, companies in Malaysia, when they talk about benchmarking against an international standard, the closest they come to is probably putting the logo on their report.
You mean the standards lah, in terms of the standards, right?
Some of it. If you go through, I've been through enough reports. I review close to about 100 over reports in a year for all markets, whether Asian or European markets as well. And one of the very key stark difference that I noticed between Malaysian companies and overseas is we are very good at putting logos there and say, okay, yeah, I'm adapting this, but we don't tell them exactly what targets you met last year and how you invested to achieve those targets. We
Right.
don't tell them exactly why those targets were not achieved. We say we've collected 30,000 straws last
Right.
year.
Right.
Okay, so what is your target for this year? We continue to do good business or responsible business. We are responsible to the environment. That's as far as it goes. They don't go beyond that. Say, for example, we are ranked number 30 on the
Okay.
CDP benchmark.
Okay.
So 30 on the CDP benchmark means you are at the top among the rest of the companies, demonstrating very in-depth measurements, and there's implementations across the organization, across the boundary for a multinational organization, where emissions have been taken into account all the way right up to their janitor level. So even the janitor of the organization must understand the impact of the emissions throughout his job process. Now, very few companies have actually come to that level in the 300 over reports that I've reviewed so far.
Right. So you were saying about a CDP, right?
Yes.
What does it involve?
Climate disclosure protocol. You see, emissions, how
Right.
much emissions you create. Typically, emissions is one of the major factors of sustainability and climate change and all these global heating scenarios. So CDP gives you a set of guidelines, questions that you need to go through and say, okay, how are you reducing the emissions across your supply chain? Say, for example, I am a manufacturer. I now am I'm actually bringing in my materials from China
Right.
because China is cheap. But
Right.
In the process of flying my material from China or transporting by sea the material from China to my Port Klang manufacturing plant, how much emission am I causing? In the process of going for meetings across to Bali or to Lombok or wherever, how much emission is my employee, my C-suite, my directors causing? That sort of measurements have to be taken into account because these are the questions in the CDP guidelines or the CDP questionnaire. So
That
these are
is
some of the examples.
the CDP. Is it a global one or is it a Malaysian
Yes,
one?
yes, it is accepted. It's a benchmark that's very popular, and it's a benchmark used even by investors.
Right.
So investors want to know which are the companies on the CDP benchmark.
Mm. So,
So I want to invest in them.
okay.
So similarly with TCFD, again here that's also another initiative, and they want to know how many of those companies are under TCFD. How many of Malaysian companies? And now CDP, a few of the Malaysian companies have actually come on board. Now
Mm.
this is a good thing, but here's the hindsight of it. They don't update the data.
Right.
Because, like I said just now in the example, when people actually do this in the last minute, right? They
Yeah.
forget about sustainability for the first 2 quarters of the year and then they try to focus only on the final quarter. And when that happens, how much data can you collect? How much data have you missed? So consistent data collection is very important in order for us to demonstrate impact, in order for us to get onto this kind of benchmarking platforms, in order for us to be benchmarked against international companies, we need to have proper data collection and dedicated teams to do that. The other aspect of data collection is also data calibration. That means we need to have the questions on emissions calibrated across the organization. So you cannot just use, okay, today I am going to measure emissions from vehicles which are hybrid. And then in a different environment, say for example, you have an office in Penang, and you're going to say, okay, I'm going to collect data from all my flights of my CEOs. That's it. So the data calibration has to be the same, consistent. Only then you'll be able to see a across the board savings, across the board consistent data collection. So that these companies, because this international benchmarking is very tricky in that sense, they want to know how have you calibrated your data, how consistent is your data collection.
Right.
So
Cannot be different standards for different people or different areas lah.
yeah, you need to explain how consistent you have been so that everyone in the organization understands why they're doing it, why they're being asked for this particular Excel sheet with all the number of flights that they've taken. And everyone knows that they are doing this because they are creating good impact to the environment in their business.
Right. Okay. So now, a lot of, out of this, like there are 903 public listed companies, right? How are they reporting? Are they equipped to report well currently?
Oh, yes, I certainly do think so. Some organizations I've worked with have got a sustainability division, a corporate division. They've got 30, 40 people in there. Some organizations have got smaller numbers. And yes, they are supported well.
Right.
Because most of these companies, when they produce an annual report, the annual report is something that not everybody knows how to put together.
Yeah.
So they work with outsourced consultants who are report writers who
Right.
put together the report and give the report a beautiful aesthetics, cover, emboss, shining, glossy, art cut, all sorts of aesthetics to the report. Now, for sustainability reports, which are non-financial reports, when they actually try to work on this, some of the gap that I've noticed now,
Yeah.
the writer is a ghost writer, a content developer, a third
Okay.
party coming from
Right.
an agency. And they may or may not understand the company and the business.
Right.
They write because they are given certain number of pages to comply because that's the allocation of budgets for that year for annual reporting.
Okay.
And this is the disconnect. The second disconnect, which is very common, very obvious, and now companies are learning to improve this, is when an agency, when they outsource the report, they make sure the agencies have got the certified sustainability reporting specialist in the team,
Okay.
so that the person, when the agency puts together the report, someone is there to vet through it to make sure that it complies with all the standards in sustainability, and we are able to give a report which is sound together with recommendations for next year's reporting, so that the company can continuously show progress for their sustainability. So that's the kind of role I think companies have taken these days, and I think that's a perfect role because not all companies have been able to invest in developing capacity for sustainability reporting in their own organization. I mean, how many hotels do you know, large brand hotels, have got a sustainability division in them? They
Yeah.
may have the revenue department, but they don't have a sustainability division.
Hmm.
They may have it in a regional office, but how often does the regional office come and understand the challenges in Malaysia, in KL, in Langkawi, in Penang, in Johor? Challenges are different, impact is different. So, therefore, companies right now are realizing that a lot more can be done because the challenges are not inherent and not the same to run a business in one state compared to another. Running a hotel business in Kelantan and Terengganu is completely different to running a business in Johor and Penang.
Right.
So, how to do this sustainably? Companies are actually are learning to do that. But it's a very slow learning process. It is like, the learning curve is not like this, it's like,
Okay.
it's
Okay. 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 So
like
it's
in that
moving
direction.
around slowly, lah.
Very slow, very slow. Honestly, I wish there's a little bit more speed picked up there.
So what are some of the examples of, let's say the different sectors in the Bursa, right? Let's say
Mm,
construction. How
mm,
how would a construction company do well or better in
mm.
sustainability?
Okay, I'm really glad that you brought that up because I can share a lot of examples. I'm just going to give the easier framework to look at. Okay,
Right.
when you talk about sustainability and you want to talk about your business and identify how your business is affected and how you can continuously do business by managing all the risk and adversities to your business, you have to do three things. Number
Mm.
one, you have to look at addressing what are the impact that you have to the environment, to the social, and to the economic aspects for your business. That's
Okay.
number one. Okay,
Okay.
so you need to just review. So, how you review is you go through the standards that are involved, which of these standards are actually affecting my business.
Mhm.
So, in economy, there's about 6 standards. All right, there's going to be a new one in 2021, so you're going to have to get ready for that. It is called the new tax guideline. So
New
in
tax.
2020, new tax guideline, correct. So in 2022, when you actually write your annual report, you're going to have to include information about where and how have you complied with your taxes. Not paid, how have you complied? How have you made sure that those tax exemptions have been maximized and leveraged upon? So
Mm.
moving forward, so there's going to be about 7 standards under economics. For social, there are about 19 standards. So 19 different areas under social. And for environment, there are 8. So 8 different standards. All you need to do is go through these standards and tick, do I have impact, positive or negative? Tick, 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 tick based on your business. That's
Right.
number one. That is calling reviewing your business according to the sustainability standards. Number two, which is the most important, is understand how your business affects a larger stakeholder, or rather, the more direct stakeholders. Say, for example, if today I'm operating as a construction company, who are my key stakeholders? My suppliers, my
Yeah.
employees, my
Yes.
contract worker suppliers, my material suppliers. So supply chain is one of the key impact for construction business. Now, if this is my major stakeholder, I need to understand what is the concern that this stakeholder will have in order for them to continuously work with me. So as a supplier, what do they want? They want proper payment. So as a construction company, see, construction business is not easy. You
Yeah.
construct today, you may receive the money later because these are staggered payment scenarios. So
Correct.
who is your key stakeholder that you need to engage with in order for you to be more responsible towards your supply chain? Your lenders, your bankers. So you need to understand who your bankers are, what kind of services they provide, what sort of liquidity, credit liquidity that they provide. How are you managing your risk so that you can demonstrate to your bankers that you are a very responsible company? So these are the kind of engagements that you need to have as a construction company.
Right.
Now, when I talk about stakeholders, now I go into the macro picture.
Right.
Now, how are you creating impact to the economy of this country as a construction company? Are you, a lot of companies, construction companies have looked at segmentizing every product that they construct, from housing, affordable housing, to green housing projects, to luxury businesses or luxury condos and luxury studios. Now you're looking at accommodation for single people. So your component of your segment is being broken down based on the macro perspective of what the population is and what it needs, so that you can continuously be the number one construction company who's coming up with fantastic, who's receiving fantastic awards and rewards because you have completed and sold properties every time the minute you launch.
Right.
You know, so in order for you to do these, so these are the three things. Number one is you need to understand how in a micro level your business is currently operating. Number two, engage with the direct stakeholders who are responsible to ensure that you continue your business responsibly and profitably. And three, look at the whole population demand, right? Your macro perspective. Now, when you do this, what you're actually doing is you're building a sustainable business and you are developing sustainably. So basically, as a construction company, you are sustainably developing your business, right? And if you're able to do this, it all it requires is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questionnaire sheets. I mean, that's how we simplify things when we work with clients. 5 questionnaire sheets. That means three is a tick form. Another one is for the senior management to answer how they're actually doing it, who are their direct stakeholders, what are the adverse impact. And three is we talk to the C-suite people and we say, okay, C-suite, now what is your direction for your construction business? Where are you moving forward? Okay, I want to move into developing land in Perak. Okay, so how do you create, what sort of projects do you want to do in Perak? So we try to understand, we try to have dialogues which creates that thinking process, which helps them to think through what they're doing, whether it's really helpful for the right segment, for the right market. Can they really make money out of this?
Right.
Right. So these are the three basic tenets. Because there are other areas such as whether as a sustainable development, as a sustainably developing organization, are you meeting the UN Sustainable Development Goals? So that's the bigger picture. And often international goals are something that people would just say, international goals are, I'm involved. Oh, okay. So usually when we talk to C-suite, we explain to them, hey, the UN SDG, like it or not, our country, we've also pledged, we've also signed to say that we're going to show good progress. And now in 2020, we've come to the decade of action. So we need to accelerate action towards sustainable development goals. You, in your report, most of the construction companies in this country have already stated that they are adapting to sustainable development goals. Now we just show them which are the sustainable development goals that you are actually creating good impact in over, and that you've created good impact in the last financial year and in this financial year, and moving forward, how should you progress to the next financial year? So we'll just show them those checklists. So that's why there's that 5 checklists that we go through with them.
Sounds pretty complicated. Does it take?
About 2 days of work, 2 days training.
So when you do reporting, right? When you actually
Yeah.
do consulting with companies and all,
Mhm.
does it take a long time to come up with the whole report and all?
What we do is we help them to, we work with them, we work with the C suite first, because that's the level that you need to get on board to understanding why we're doing this, why they need to do this, right?
Okay.
Like I said just now, Bursa Malaysia's guideline, Malaysian Code of Corporate Governance guidelines expects you to care and to manage step up actions. So, therefore, you need to demonstrate, comprehend, apply, report, and explain. So, in the process of doing so, when the board of directors understand the purpose, often they do, but it becomes a little bit stuck at the middle management level because they've just got too many KPIs to manage and not sure which to prioritize.
Right.
So, if the board of directors set the priority, okay, this year we're going to create more impact on SDG, say 11, right? Sustainable communities. So we're going to create sustainable communities through our project in Perak, right? And we're going to help the community to become more responsible, to become more sustainable. And how are we going to do this? So we're going to talk about environment. We're going to focus on some investment in the area of environment. We're going to focus on some areas in training and education for the societies in Perak, so that they can then continuously work with us in that community. So once the direction is set, then the implementation comes under senior management level. And senior management level is the easiest group to handle. Simply because they do this every day. It's just that they didn't know it's sustainability.
Right. They're already doing sustainable items already.
Correct. They're already abiding by some of those standards anyway, the economic six and all that I mentioned just now. They're already doing it. It's just that they didn't know that they're complying.
Right.
Yeah, and then the more difficult one is the rank and file, the executors, the task doers, because there are more group of people who are actually participating in the activity to save energy, to maintain waste, to segregate, to recycle. So we need to educate them. It takes a little bit longer. Number one, because not all of them speak English, and number two, they need to understand why they're doing it. Why is there
Yeah.
extra work for me to do now?
Right.
So talking to C-suite takes about a day, half a day. In fact, it was made possible at one time. To the middle management level, about 1 or 2 days. But to continuously engage and ensure that rank and file continue to demonstrate that change behavior. So, for example, now if I have a cleaner, for example, okay, he discards waste and he has to recycle it, right? So he needs to know why he's doing that recycling, what kind of benefit that is to the organization. So to explain it to him in the way that he understands, we normally conduct on-job trainings so that they see the benefit of what they're doing and
Right.
the value to the economy, to the society, to the environment. And they feel good. When they feel good, they continuously do it. And when they continuously do it, the company will prosper because everything is aligned. All right, now that alignment is what we're working on.
Got it. Got it. Okay, Sunita, we are coming to the end of the show. I think
Oh,
you have
wow.
given
Okay.
a lot of details, tips, and all. Wow, thank God I'm not in a listed company category. There's so much of work there, and a
Yeah,
lot of
actually,
technicalities involved.
yes,
Um,
yes.
so, do you have anything to say before we finish the show to the
Oh,
audience?
yeah, I do. I would like to say thank you to all who have tuned in, number one. Number two, I hope this has opened your eyes to how to approach sustainability. Don't think that sustainability is just, recycling and planting trees. It's about how you invest and how you derive the best value out of your investments. And if that investment is towards the environment or social, uh, it actually definitely, not actually, definitely would derive profitability at the end of the day. If you're sustainable. If you're not sustainable, then you're going to have to deal with another different case altogether. So make sure that you get your sustainability information and understanding correct so that you can align your processes, your knowledge, so that you can align your processes and deliver the goals that your company needs. Because if you don't know, your company, you're going to actually contribute to the losses. If you know, you're going to actually help your company to make more gains and to also make profits and continue to make profits. So I'm always for profitability. So good luck.
Okay, so some last few people who have just said some words to you, Reka, Madhavan, Siva
Hey,
Kumar,
Madhavan.
okay, and then Ram Kumar Menon. All right, they all enjoyed your talk today, and I think
Okay.
it's enlightened me a lot on all the
Okay.
different aspects of sustainability. Just because have said, she said, "Wow, good to see you, your colleague from AEU." I can
Yeah, I
remember,
remember.
right?
I remember. Yeah, she works in a
So,
very good environment.
and let me just see, Gayatri. Thanks for the amazing sharing from Gayatri.
Thank you, Gayatri.
So, thank you, Gayatri. And Sunita, thank you so much for being here. I think it's not an easy thing. This thing that you're doing, right? Definitely, it involves a lot of technical aspects, research, and also a lot of communication. All the throughout all the levels. Uh, Let me see. Walid Abdullah said second degree connection, second digital service director at XFAS. Thank you for sharing this information.
You're very
Okay,
welcome, Wale. You're very welcome. Actually,
right.
digital services is excellent. You guys are the enablers for sustainability, if you ask me.
Okay, so Sunita, thank you so much for
Thank you,
sharing
Lisa.
all the info. It was, really like it's good stuff, good stuff. And let me just share with everyone here. If you want to reach out to Sunita, you can always reach her through LinkedIn and Facebook under Sunita Devi, right? So you know her picture, how she looks like right now. So you can look up. Or otherwise, you can always get in touch with me, and I'll connect you with her. All right. And this is a recorded session, okay, for everyone. You can always go to cadtraining.com.my, the YouTube, where we have a lot of past recorded sessions, right? You can see the bit.ly link at below these comments to see all the past recorded sessions. And of course, I invite you to subscribe into the YouTube channel so that you get the latest uh, uh, interviews, okay, live. All right, again, Sunita, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll see you again. Sunita, just stay back after this interview, right?